For some reason, the town of Kings Lynn seems to be a haven for giving birth to some of racing's most recognisable names. Of course, I think the name that stands out to most people, most likely because his hometown gets mentioned quite a lot of times by David Croft during F1 broadcasts, is Sao Paulo Grand Prix winner George Russell. Given his meteoric rise to prominence from scything his way through the junior ranks to being in a struggling Williams for 3 seasons, always in the shadow of being the dominant Mercedes team's next protege. Now, more than likely one of the reasons why George Russell and Kings Lynn seem to be paired in the same sentence numerous times during the broadcast is because of one of Kings Lynn's other famous racing stars, Crofty's partner in crime, Martin Brundle. As well as being the starter of 158 Grand Prix and winning the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1990, perhaps his greatest achievement was winning the 1990 Cleveland race in the IROC series. Another one of Kings Lynn's finest is Martin's son Alex. Not only is he a very accomplished driver and commentator, he's also driven for Ginetta in its LMP1 car, including at Le Mans. One driver who's also made some strides of notoriety, albeit amongst the locals only, is former Ginetta GT4 Super Cup driver and 2012 champion Carl Breeze. Whilst he hasn't been racing since 2015, he's also made starts in British touring car racing, as well as win the title in the 2001 Formula Renault UK Championship. Despite all of this prominence in the motorsport scene, those are not the drivers that I want to focus on today. Liam McMillan. You know where he was born, so I won't go into that. However, he was making progress up the touring car ranks. He made absolute mincemeat of his competition in the 2006 Sax Max Championship, winning all pole positions in that season, as well as winning every single race that season, except one, at Snetterton of all tracks, his local circuit. Either way, he progressed up to the Seat Cupra Championship in 2007. He struggled to make much of an impression in the series, with a best result of 3 7th place finishes across the season. He then took part in a part-time campaign in the Spanish and European Seat Le Mans Cups. Again, didn't make a massive impression in the European Championship, but he did fare better in the Spanish series, collecting 3 podium finishes. Liam though was about to get into the big time. On January the 21st of 2009, it was announced that he would intend to compete full-time in the British Touring Car Championship. He would be racing in an ex-Works Seat Toledo and would be running for the independent Maxstream team, which just so happens to be the team that was managed by his father Paul. Liam was quoted as saying, in preparation for his season, "This next stage will be nerve-wracking and I expect it will take time to adapt. But I'm only 18 years old and time is on my side." Obviously, this was going to be a huge challenge for Liam. The Toledo was one of, if not the, oldest car on the grid. However, this was seen as good cheap grounding by Father Paul. So I guess what we have to gauge from that is that this was seen as a way to get Liam eased into the series. Liam said himself that the aim for the year was to get a top 10 result, although he would be mentored by World Touring Car Champion Rob Huff. The first 3 rounds passed by with no dramatic results. Then, after Donington Park came and went, it would prove to be Liam's last ever round in BTCC. What follows is what I can only describe as bemusing. I've decided to coin this section of the video the erroneous engine enigma. Alton Park had to be missed because after sending off the engines to French manufacturer Orica, yes, Orica, the company behind the current dominant force in LMP2 racing, the engines weren't returned. This was apparently due to a dispute between BTC Racing and Orica in relation to the lack of a payment, with the engines, that were supposedly owned by Maxstream, being held as ransom. BTC Racing was the team that had previously owned the Seat and its engines that Maxstream had bought from them. Goodness me, this is long-winded already. However, they then got the engines back before the next round at Croft, only to then discover that all the parts had not been returned. Then, in a later interview, Liam's father Paul described how bad the engine woes had been for them before the season even began. They bought the 4 engines from the previous team, only for the engine to let go after 21 miles. It was fixed. Wait, are we still going? Yes. Yes, we are. Geez, we could write a novel about it at this rate. It was fixed and survived a bit longer, 25 miles. Also, because SEAT wouldn't supply any further engine parts for the Toledo, they had to have the 16-valve engine custom made. Then, the inlet cam seized in the cylinder head, causing the camshaft head and followers to self-destruct. They eventually got about 90% of the head of the engine done, only to then realise that when it came to setting up the dyno, when the time came, SEAT owned the rights to the engine software, and SEAT wouldn't give access to that data for the engines to be dynoed. However, Paul Macmillan vowed, "I will not be beaten. We will get there." They never returned for the rest of the season. In fact, the only racing at a professional level that Liam did after that was a single round of the production touring car trophy at Brands Hatch in 2011. Liam, who's now 32, is currently the director of Maxstream, which is based in Wisbech, not too far away from Kings Lynn. I'll link an article in the description which explains further all the problems that beset Liam and the Maxstream team. However, this only tells the story during the 2009 season and no further. It clearly states the desire of wanting to return back during 2009. However, 1, they don't, and 2, there is nothing that I can find anywhere with an updated story beyond the 2009 season. This leaves me with some unanswered questions. Why didn't they ultimately return, despite the head of the engine being about 90% finished? Also, if the BTCC was, for whatever reason, a no-go, with Liam still not even in his 20s, why did his career not kick-start back into life again? A frustrating end for one individual in one of the world's racing meccas, that is, Kings Lynn. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next one, enjoy the rest of your day.